Okay, 6:32, I'll call meeting to order. Any modifications or changes to tonight's agenda?
Nope.
No?
Other than public comment.
Okay, well, let's move on to public comment. And you guys here from the public tonight to comment on something?
Yeah. My name's Albert Durashi. I live here in town, and what I'm speaking for is we belong to a club, a bunch of us, for side-by-side ATVs. And we'd like permission to go through town. If we have to, we can go skirt the outside, like going down Pleasant Street to get out, to go up Duffy Hill, for instance. The youngest one of our club, she's about 60, and the oldest one is Dan, here's 85.
Yeah, rabbit.
I'm sorry. We could come into town, have a bite to eat, get gas, buy parts, whatever. I do know, say for instance, a lot of our friends go to New Hampshire for a weekend. They do well. New Hampshire does very well with business. I know a lot of them, they'll book, like they're leaving Sunday afternoon to come back, they'll book for the following weekend, go right back, stay in a hotel, whatever. And it's a heck of a business for them. I'm not saying we could do as well here in Enosburg, but some is better than none. And in our group, we call ourselves recycled teenagers because of our age or whatever. There's about a dozen of us, and we'll go out once, sometimes twice a week. We'll go to a restaurant from here, or wherever, say the Pinecone, we've been to Jay Village, we've been to Fairfax Village, and we make a day of it. We're usually back before dark. We're all registered with the state. We belong to a club. We have insurance. We have lights. There's not a loud muffler in a whole bunch. I would like to think that you guys could say it was okay.
Your group sounds pretty respectable. Unfortunately, not every group is like that.
That's true. I won't say different. But to the same token, you have that now. Guys going through town and standing up on the rear wheel of a motorcycle. I have nothing against bikes, but I'm saying you're always going to get some riffraff, and I don't care where you're at.
Mhm.
That's not us.
No, this topic has come up quite a bit in the past recent years, since more and more towns have been allowing ATVs and side-by-sides, and more respectable folk than behaving themselves, if you will.
We're too old not to.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not an answer we're going to be able to give you tonight because it required ordinance change. But it's something that the board could think about. I know last year or year before, we were approached by.
Vasa.
It was
Vasa.
Vasa, that's right. And
Okay.
Vasa wanted to have a route into town or to get through town. And, there was some pushback from some residents, and ultimately the board decided it may not be a good idea at this time. But we could always revisit it in the future.
Appreciate it. Like I say, some extra business is better than none at all. And it would be.
I'd like to step in and say we're losing money in our village because these guys, I went riding with these guys and we dropped off at least $400 in Troy for lunch. We didn't hurt nobody. We went riding. We had a great time. It's not the little hellions. There's always going to be little hellions. You've got to grow up, right?
Newport had a lot of problems, a lot of speeder.
Right.
They open the trail, the whole town's open, right now they go down 15 miles an hour, they go to
Exactly.
east side restaurant, they go everywhere, no one has a drum. Highgate just been open this spring, the town Highgate's open, because they had problems.
The
And
town of Swanton just opened up the town roads, not the village.
Mhm.
But I think, I don't know for sure, but I think the average town is starting to open their eyes and say, it's not so bad after all.
The hard part is we don't have many town roads that inlet into the village. They're all state highways. The state will not, for the exception of Route 100 in Lowell, I can't think of any state road.
We
that-
do have the right, they give us the right of way for half a mile from this road to the other road.
Yeah,
If you gotta go on a highway.
yeah. So getting in is gonna be difficult.
And it is legal on a numbered highway in Vermont to cross.
Yeah, how would you get in? I mean, there's Duffy Hill and Water Tower, but other than that, everything's a state road.
Right.
And Berkshire doesn't allow ATVs on highway, on state, on,
They do.
They do.
they do on town roads?
Oh, yeah.
If you remember last year, we were trying to get to Kathy's,
Yeah, yeah,
and that last little section would be the village.
yes.
Mhm.
So they're trying to figure out a way around that.
And we discussed it with the town too, of having kind of a trail, if you will, like by the emergency services building, and come in kind of through JVU in that area. But that was a no-go. So if you can come up with a good route, present it to the board, and I think we might be able to make a amendment to the ATV ordinance for that route only.
Yeah, I know last year we had to, the board asked me to do some research, and there were some villages, like Hardwick.
Yep.
A couple others, they didn't open up the whole village, but they did have a route in and out, or a route through.
I don't draw very well, but I sort of made a map where to going around the village to go out to Duffy Hill. If you
And how would you get in from the north end? You think coming down Water Tower?
I live here, Tim.
How many of your riders also live in town? Where in the village? I should
Adam,
say.
what the heck's his name? Owns Napa.
Eli,
Eli lives in town. I do.
Penny
Mark
DeMar,
McDermott,
Penny DeMar.
Penny
Penny
does.
Mark, Mark McDermott.
and Penny's got a side by side. He's been right with us. We went to
Right.
Newport one time.
So they'd have to come from other
So,
areas to get to this route though,
Yeah,
correct?
I'd recommend opening Main Street and showing that everybody else.
Yeah.
And how would we determine who was allowed on the road and who wasn't? We've been seeing a lot of extra vehicles on the road that are not supposed to be on the road at this moment.
Well, you usually have to be a member of the club and
Oh, yeah, you
registered,
gotta belong.
insured,
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, we've been stopped before, up in Eden, for instance, 3 years ago. We were all riding, there was six machines. And we got to the top of the hill, there were 2 game wardens waiting up there. So they checked us all out, we were all okay. But they did stop 4 other guys who didn't have helmets. And as we left, the last machine was more apparent, he was saying, why did you hold them back? He says, first of all, they didn't have helmets. Second of all, he says, if they had them and didn't snap them, we can find them. So they're pretty strict with the rules.
They changed the law on helmets, I wanna say last year. And they gave everybody kind of a grace, or 2 years ago, and they gave kind of a grace period, but I know they're very strict on helmets now.
Right.
And that's the first thing they look at. They look at you without a helmet. They gonna stop you.
would giving you permission open up the route to other towns for their riders to come through?
They would, you can't stop that, it's like vehicles going through the village now, it's, you know, we belong to what they call Northwestern, Riders Association. And in our little club, we call ourselves the Recycled Teenagers, but, I'm sure it would bring business into town from other towns that fall.
Newport, a lot of the restaurants have made special parking for
That's true.
the side by side.
That's true.
And I got a friend that lives in Newport, and he says Enosburg is totally wrong not doing this, because Newport, they now have so many of these side-by-sides coming in, that in the park, like on weekends, they have these, like Dennis Sheridan comes in with this little food booth,
Mhm.
and they gather and they go there for a lunch, and they have a band playing, and it's just like years ago it was the snowmobiles, and now it's the four-wheelers. I'm all for letting them in, because if they let us come in the village, I'd buy one.
The other side of it is that, let's just say, put us on a trial basis, open it up for 1 year, and go from there.
Like John said, though, I'd be more apt to just send them right down Main Street. Keep all the noise in the business district downtown and not on residential streets.
There you go.
And all the businesses are there.
Yeah,
Cafe Tavern, they got room up there, they got parking lot at the back, because they do make advertising for vats
Yeah.
in the winter.
Yep.
A lot of people, and the trail right across the road from them, so.
Yep.
They're pretty busy with that.
Yeah, definitely something to think about. I mean, if Berkshire is rider friendly, I wouldn't see any reason not to open up Water Tower, Main Street, and then Duffy Hill.
I would be coming south on Water Tower Road 3 years ago with my truck. And a sheriff was parked there with radar. So I pulled up on the side of him and I said, I have an ATV, and I said, I use this road often, once a week, whatever. I says, you got a problem with that? He says, if I don't get a phone call or somebody bitching about it, you won't hear anything from me. So 25 miles an hour till we get on beyond that speed limit, this is what we do. And I haven't, next 3 years, I haven't heard anybody complain.
Do we want to make an agenda item for next meeting for further discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely would like us to make sure there's some consideration around, again, people who are not approved to be on the road.
Well,
It's just
of course,
there's
that's
been a lot
the
of complaints.
enforcement side of it.
I know, and that's kind of like
Yeah.
a challenge that we're in, like not having that readily.
Yes.
Um,
But
I just don't wanna make people think that they can then start riding wherever they want to. I've been seeing a lot of people speeding
That might be
on the
a-
rail trail and evading the police lately.
it might be a double-edged sword though, because like they say, game wardens are the ones that patrol and enforce the ATV law.
Mm.
And so if it's a trail, we might get enforcement. 'Cause right now, a game warden's not gonna sit on Main Street trying to catch ATVs.
No.
But if it's a known route, like an established route, then they might post up.
Would this association that you belong to, or VASA, would they pay for the signage? Where,
I don't know
They-
that.
because I know I
Good
see.
question.
Not that I know of.
I don't know. I haven't
So
heard.
is it like Swanton Town pay for their, well, because I see them, no ATVs or ATVs.
I'd have to ask. I don't know.
I know in Bakersfield when they went through it, Vassar provided signs for them.
Yeah.
Can you find that out?
I can.
Would you guys be willing to come to next month's meeting
Sure.
for some further discussion and information exchange?
Sure.
We now meet only the second Tuesday of each month.
It'll be
No,
June,
first.
June 10th.
First, the second
Second.
Tuesday.
Second.
Right after Deer Day.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Second Tuesday.
Correct.
Sorry. I thought second meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we'll plan for that then.
Good. Very good. Same time?
Yep, 6:30.
We will be here. Thank you kindly.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for your time.
Bring your wives, bring your wives.
Sometimes you don't behave.
Mine and blocked him with a cane now.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Okay, review and approval for minutes, April 22nd, 2025. Everyone looked them over and they didn't appear to be missing anything or any errors. It was a short and sweet one, but yeah.
Make a motion, we accept.
All right, David first, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. Now we have Historical Society plans to paint the Railroad Museum.
Did you find a picture?
I know nothing.
Nothing in here.
We came to you last fall, asked if we could paint it blue. You kindly gave us permission. We started it on the sign. People took a look at the sign, they didn't like it. So we went back to the drawing board and we have a historical color. The building used to be painted. It's,
Was that before the blue must be?
yes,
Oh, yeah.
that was before the green.
That's the original.
And apparently the way they ran the stations in the old days was they painted them different colors depending on if they were red, the trains had to stop there every time. If they were yellow, they probably had to look. If they were green, they could go right by. I don't know. But ours was a red station, and so we're not proposing exactly that color. Come on, where are you? We're proposing this color. And we'd like your approval of it, since you are the ones that rent the building from the state.
If it's painted red, now the train's gonna have to stop every time.
You
I
want to
think
hand
the
that
train
around?
stopped there permanently.
So they can see it close.
This is what it,
That's from 1994.
This was in '94?
Oh, true.
Yeah, we took over the building, so.
Oh, that's the color one. We took over the building.
It's behind the brick.
The Historical Society moved in for a museum around 1994.
I mean, I'm good with the red.
Didn't the colors mean something?
He was just saying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was
You missed that.
correcting that.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
did the red mean?
the red means that it meant that the train had to stop every time they came through, apparently, so. It must have
We
been
were
a major
important.
hub.
That was the freight house it was called, so.
I don't know what, I think that one of them, Richford, is black. I don't know what that means. But
Oh, really?
Probably means it's been retained.
Yeah.
All right, motion to allow historical to paint red instead of blue.
Will there be a trim color?
there will be a trim color. We have not decided what to do with that yet.
We're gonna paint it red. and
Not black.
Then we're gonna look at it.
It's gonna be white or something.
I'm hoping they go for the blue that we have already started up around the top.
I liked it. I thought it popped.
Yeah, it does.
All right, I heard Heather for the first. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Leonard with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Just along the museum, the 19th, I mentioned
Yeah.
James. So the state is, if you're not aware, they're resurfacing just like they did for the Lamoille. They're resurfacing from St. Albans all at Richford. They're adding signage and they're adding fencing. And they're gonna be adding fencing through that section. So we have a meeting with the state on the 19th. To kind of
They're trying to get an awful fence up.
well, to see where it is, it's more Bates is gonna be, they're limiting Bates, they're gonna be like one crossing and that's,
Yeah.
and where those trailers are parked. But that's what I was afraid of, that they fence right by the caboose, and then like people have to stop at Archibald to go around to the museums,
That's
but.
what they make wire clippers for.
Well, this is a steel fence, or,
Is it, do you know what type of fence there?
I believe it's like a kind of black wrought iron, almost similar to like the Doughboy.
Okay,
It's
so
kind of like that.
at least decent looking.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna look nice, but I didn't want to block.
What's the
Access.
reason for the fence?
Yeah.
Just so that people, like if you're, like, let's say you're at Bates's and for some reason you're behind, coming out of some of those areas, because some of it's not blocked off, and someone walks out on a biker or something, or a snowmobile
Okay.
goes barreling through.
And probably to establish their land boundaries.
Well, yeah. And
Haven't
the
agreed
state,
with it.
the state's paying for that?
What's that?
The state's paying for research?
It's all, it's all Steve.
Any idea how long it's going to take?
I just know, I think the whole summer.
Probably.
The Moyles was.
Okay, I'll ask more people who are on that between them. We bike on the rail trail a lot personally, so I was just curious, like, I'm looking forward to it, but also wondering.
Who's responsible for the pavement repair?
Oh,
Because there
that
are
section,
some
yeah.
very bad potholes right now on Archibald Street at Depot.
Are you talking about the rail trail?
It's on the rail trail.
Yeah, it is really
Yeah.
bad.
I noticed that.
It's gotten a lot worse this spring.
I can ask.
I think that's us. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
We, a few years back, we had a lot of back and forth with Department of Transportation Rail Division. They're tough cookies to deal with. So I'm fairly certain we had to. It was us.
There's some pretty bad potholes.
We
There'll
should
probably be a
consider-
couple before the motorcycles go through there. Because it looks like they're deep
Motorcycles
enough
aren't
that,
supposed to go through there.
well, no, the point of going over Archibald
On the
Street,
road, on the
because it's
street.
right
Oh,
on the road.
street, okay, I'm also talking about like right by Bates too, like,
Yeah.
so on the rail trail.
No, well,
Some of
it's
that-
on the rail trail, but it's over by.
Yeah,
would be
we're talking
Archibald
about
Street.
both ends of the rail
Yeah.
trail then, yeah.
I believe some of that pavement that's through Bates's is actually gonna be tore up. It's gonna go back to that gravel.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so like if you're on the Pleasant side, like right by their loading dock there, it
Yeah.
is
Mhm.
pretty awful. And then yeah, Archibald's pretty bad too.
Okay, sorry, I'm going a little off topic there.
Yeah, just kind of.
Historical Society, good?
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Now we have a town band park permit, EVA popcorn, and Enosburg Library craft table. So band constant park, EVA is running popcorn, and the library will have a table there.
Which is what they've been doing for the past couple of years. It
Mhm.
works really great, gives the younger folks in the audience something to do, and
Right.
nice collaboration and connection with the library.
I got no problem with
I'm good.
it. Motion to accept permit, waive the fee.
I'll approve, or
Make the motion to accept.
Okay, I heard Heather with the first, Leonard's got the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, the ladies of St. Anne, St. John the Baptist Catholic Church have a park permit request for a bake sale during town band concerts. Again, yeah, pretty straightforward, as long as it doesn't interfere with any of the existing park permits for that day. The band, I'm sure that they've already gotten in touch with that.
They're just a bunch of ladies that they like to make
They want to
puppies.
sell pies.
That's fine.
nice.
Yeah.
I like to eat.
I was gonna say, I feel like we should have a sample.
Pie for dinner during
Are
town
you
band
ready?
night. That sounds glorious, actually. Don't have to pack a picnic.
Okay, well, sounds like we're all on board. Motion to accept permit, waive the fee.
I make a motion, we accept it.
We have the first or second?
Leonard,
I'll
you
second.
Leonard second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Okay,
So
so we got this Vermont, that's Vermont Gas, right?
So, yeah, what this is we were just wondering, and if you look at your packet, I got mixed up, so. Park application permit. But the question is, I don't know if I've been through one of these, or this application, I don't think we get a ton of them. Now that a majority of the village, they want a gas service and they've gone for Vermont Gas. The question is, would you folks want these to go before you, almost like a curb cut? Or are we just improving them and moving them forward? It's an application for a permit.
There's a second page that goes with this, so I think we're being approved by the public works director. And
They
it does
were
set
before?
conditions, but it does have a spot where trustee approval, so we didn't, John and I both kind of like, not sure.
See, this is where I got confused before, because remember when they did the Pearly hookup, they dug up Main Street, and I was like, we gave them permission to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's,
So,
yeah.
I mean, we have some infrastructure involved, they'll be going under sidewalks and stuff, that's why we're asking the question.
I did give them a heads up because what ended up happening was they dropped these off for like next week construction because I think they were used to them just being approved.
Mm-hmm.
So we did kind of go through it and went through, they sent us a site map with it of everything and what they're doing. So we did kind of give them the blessing for this because it was before the meeting and it was a quick turnaround, but I did tell them everything is subject to change, that we were going before the board and that they may need to plan their construction better in the future.
It's my personal opinion that the board should be able to look at major projects for infrastructure before they tear up the roads that we pay to pave. My opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we necessarily need to get into the nitty gritty unless we have to, like examining site maps and all that stuff, but they should at least go before staff and they make a recommendation to the board, and if we want to look into it further, we can.
Kind of like
So-
what we did with the allocation process.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
haircuts.
Because like Vermont Gas could say, all right, we want to run a line all the way down Pleasant Street, or theoretically, you know what I mean? And then if the board doesn't see it, next thing you know, they got half Pleasant Street tore up, putting
These
in.
ones that we did just prove were the line's already there, they were just connecting customers, so it wasn't anything
Yeah.
So
tearing
when-
up our roads thankfully, but
When the natural gas first went in, did they not lay a main line through all the streets? Did they do a hookup to each of, even though not all the residences got hooked up, did they have a connection from that main line, say, to the house?
I don't think on every street, but like, I know, West Berkshire Road there is, Sampsonville Road there is, like any, I guess, main drag. Do you have it on Pleasant?
Natural gas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, I think every street. Again, I don't think we're gonna get a ton
So-
of these because majority of people have already been hooked up. But
Right.
just the question is if we
And-
have any in the future.
I wanna say for 2024, we got maybe 3 looking through the folder. But we just, yeah, how do you want us to handle them moving forward?
And then excavation in the right of way can kind of be pretty big, because like when I hooked up, the gas was on the right side of the road. So it didn't really require any, you didn't have to touch any infrastructure, they just dug in my driveway and threw it in. However, a portion of it was in the right of way.
Okay.
I don't care about that, but if they gotta cross the road, tear all the pavement up, that's something that I would definitely wanna know about. So that, I think that we should have the board approve them like an allocations process, just have staff make recommendation.
Yeah, but natural gas, if they cross the road, they don't dig nothing up.
They line bore it,
Yeah.
yeah. But we need to come up with a blanket policy for all infrastructure work or excavation in our right of way. That way we don't run into another tear up Main Street
Right, right.
problem.
After it gets paid.
Yes, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But as far as this particular one goes, they're just doing a hookup, 99 Orchard Street.
Yeah, I'm assuming I assume it's done
Yeah,
right
these
now.
are probably done.
Well, they start date was May 5th to June 5th, so I'm not sure.
Okay, they didn't excavate into the road at all. So, yeah, I don't.
That's the Pierre Pussing house, right?
Yes. So
So it's a,
That's Bennett that bought that house.
so it's
Yeah,
a toss,
yeah.
so it's a moot point if you have on this one, but then I think on any other one.
Yeah, and it's not just picking on natural gas here.
No, it's in there.
Anything, any allocations or any
Yeah.
excavation.
Right.
And it says right here. Title 19, VSA Chapter 11, Section 411s, or 41s. Okay. We don't do anything else on that? The ordinance is already in place, right?
Yep.
Keep on. All right. Motion to delegate the village manager to approve park permit request.
So the other thing, I emailed, Eli had asked, folks have asked this last couple meetings. Basically, it's just a resolution. I talked with Jesse. You can make it a motion as well to approve it, if you're still thinking that way. And I have a resolution to sign, for everybody to sign. After I talked to Jesse, that's what he said. Because it's already actually in the ordinance that the village manager can actually approve or disapprove of them. It's trustees and or.
Well, that's good. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't have to go to that,
We don't have
60
to go to that
days.
meeting. No, he said this is a resolution. So if you're still interested in that,
So it's already existing that either the board or you can approve or,
Even though it says in the ordinance that it has to be in so many days before presented to the
I
board.
was just gonna ask that.
Cause I thought it was worded in there that it had to go before the
I
board.
asked Jesse that. He said it just has to pass a resolution.
Okay. I'm just asking if I know
Yeah.
that there was specific timeframe that. it
Yeah,
had to
because
be
like
in.
normally we spend some time when we get those wondering how to help people with that timeline.
yeah, yeah.
We approve them, but like,
It's up to you. You don't have to do it. I'm more than happy to have you folks go through them. I mean, that's the process. You just have to have this resolution signed. You want to hold off and do it in the next meeting, or?
Well, my next question is this resolution, is that to make it so only so you have the approval authority?
Correct.
But just you, not us?
No, both would still have it. Because the village manager can, how do I word it? Should I print it? Right?
Eddie, can you make it a little bigger?
I had it. It's, okay. The trustees can sign a resolution at their next meeting delegating the application review process and approval authority to the village manager. You are correct that section 4 allows either the trustees or manager to deny a permit, so such an action is consistent with the original intent of the ordinance when it was adopted. That's how Jesse wrote it.
That's only for denial, not approval. Right?
Section 3, all applications for the use of a park shall be reviewed by the board of trustees. Upon review, the following action may be taken on a permit: approve, conditionally approve, disapprove, or refer it to the village department. The village manager then notifies the applicant of the disposition of the application.
Yeah, I didn't think the manager could approve, but he can deny.
It's not listed here that they can approve. They could deny because if he gets like incomplete
Yeah.
application before it even makes it to you, he can kick it back.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm being flat right
No, I mean, this is what the lawyer said. So, I mean, I don't.
I thought it was.
I'd rather go through
specific
this
in there.
process personally, but it's up to you folks.
Oh, come on, you know the paperwork?
No, I mean, we do the paperwork anyway. I don't mind. I don't mind going in front of you folks. There's different thoughts. Because if I
Yeah.
approve it and then I bring it to you, it's kind of a moot point, right? Because you asked to know about it.
Yeah.
If I miss something or you don't like something, and then I come and say, well, they're gonna have a Harley, whatever. Or
So
something. I don't
what
know.
about,
They do, you always approve it.
Right.
so what about kind of an in-between where like the regular ones, like the annual ones could be approved, you could approve when there's no change. I don't know, if that complicates it more, but like there's 90% of the ones we get are recurring events with almost no change. If there's any change, it's insignificant. Whereas it would be nice maybe for something new, I don't know, to be approved by us then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get the concept. At the same time, I don't, because I understood I was gonna come explain to you permits
I
anyway.
think they just wanted a list of
Yeah.
what you approved.
Just to keep us in the know.
Yeah,
Like
so
under
the
manager
calendar,
minutes
what's
of
going on.
Yeah.
It's up to you. He's saying it's a resolution if you want.
Because the other option too around John having to go over it all at the meetings is that once a park application is approved, we have a letter that we type up. It's generic, your request went before the board, it was approved, wait to see, whatever it says, send it to him. And then I email that application to zoning, Ken, and Psyche. So I could always just email once it's approved and that way you guys have them that way, or we keep just doing what we were doing.
And then I was also just kind of envisioning, like in your manager's report, just listing, like I approve
Yeah.
this on this date, and
Mhm.
just so that we have it. Just like we had the one from Voices Against Violence a couple weeks ago, and I made a point to go out there and see what it was about, and there were a lot of students involved, so I got to spend a few minutes with the students, and even if I wouldn't have known, I wouldn't have gone, so just be helpful to know. But I don't think you need to would have to go through everything.
Again, I'm good with either way.
I have another question in here, though, because we approved the position of assistant village manager. I believe that's gonna be effective in June,
No, it's already effective.
Yeah, it was effective
but
immediately.
already effective. Will that include authority for Abby this time?
I don't think I mean, that's up to the
In-
board, but I don't think we need, unless John's gonna be
In
out for an
manager's
extended
Yeah.
time, I mean, most permits.
Well, here's the way that I try to look at this. If it's a normal parks use permit, like 99% of 99.9% of the time, John could just rubber stamp it. But if there's something that borders on the commercial end, like if we should waive the fee or not, he can then present that to the board. That way he's not in hot water. Or if there's like I don't know, satanic ritual or something happening, and he's like, I don't know if we should deny this or not. Again, before the board, that way it keeps him out of hot water. That's what I'm thinking is the point of this.
Kind of what I was saying.
So somehow if we can put those words into something legal, I'd be happy with it.
Cause that's where the ordinance still would need to be changed,
Then they
if I
change
don't
the
understand, because
ordinance.
it says in the ordinance that it has to be submitted 7 days prior to a meeting, so there's already language in there that if I don't know if we wanna keep the timeline so people aren't waiting till like, oh, hey, we wanna have this event in the park tomorrow, but that's gonna have to be
Well,
updated in the ordinance, technically.
yes, but I can't see that being an issue unless both of these circumstances line up. It's a weird parks permit request that he doesn't know how to handle, or wants the board to say no or whatever. And they presented it so late that it can't make the board cut. In which case, you could just say, no, sorry, I missed deadline. Easy peasy.
That's true, that's very good.
And I think that the wording that bringing it to the board would be part of John's discretion in determining whether or not to
Exactly.
approve
Yeah.
it. I would like a little bit of feedback, please, because this one's unusual.
Right, so if anything, let's just change it to, the manager and or board of trustees have the power to approve parks
And
and
that's
Rec.
what this would,
But this is only you.
I believe it's both. It just states that.
It says resolution whereas the Village of Enosburg Village trustees agree to the delegation of the application review process to the approval authority to the village manager. So we're delegating that to you, which you should have us to fall back on, or ultimate authority.
I'll ask Jesse to follow up with it.
Yeah, I think if we just add you and or with the board of ultimate authority, we'll be fine. Okay, we all set on that?
Yep.
Now we have another parks permit request for Root Sock Racing, St. Albans Street lot.
So this is a group, it's Root Rock Racing. It's kind of like a adventure racing. So these folks they picked Vermont this year. It's a global thing. They do it all around the world. And Vermont got picked this year, I guess. It's a 500-mile race. We can't give a lot of details because the racers don't know what's going on. All they know is the fly into Burlington. They have a hotel in Burlington. They start from there. They get a compass and stuff. So,
Kind of like the Amazing Race or
yeah,
whatever.
they hike, they bike, they swim.
It looks cool, they have a website, John's showing.
Yeah. So their request is, they reached out to me, and they were asking if we had any property near the river, before they went to a private person. We got on Google Maps, the guy, and I showed him the St. Albans, pump station down there. And he thought that was great, because they are transitioning from bikes to rafts in Enosburg. So they'll be here from the 24th of June to the 27th. It's midweek, it's Tuesday to Friday or something like that, Tuesday to Thursday. So I guess, again, a good example of bringing this to you. A couple of questions. I talked with Brian. They've asked for power. I've talked to Brian. They have an outlet. They're more than happy to run power toward out the outlet. They're just going to run like some Christmas tree lights or something just to light it up a little bit, because they will be there 24/7. It'll be staffed 24/7 because crews will come through at any time of night and day. And they will get a portalet. The only other thing too, they asked, he said that if we can't, they would bag up the trash and so forth. And he asked if we could just throw one of the dumpsters, but they don't, they'll figure that out. But he said he'd ask the question.
Are they gonna head east or west on the river?
They're heading,
West.
they're going all the way to Lake Champlain and supposed to have a raft. Out around. Yeah, I mean, there's some of it's like you have to have like a class, whatever, rapids and.
Well, this is a perfect example of an unusual park service.
Yeah, I figured that's why I followed up with it. Like, maybe they won't make me do this now. So yeah, that's the request. I mean, the only thing I think is really the decision is that A, you want to charge the power or not, and B, the trash.
I'm sure that they have some type of fee to race, so they should have some funds available.
And I don't know. I know they asked for volunteers too, and to go through the race. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like a for-profit or non-profit. I didn't really go that far into it, but they have a website. You can look it up.
I mean, like, what would that even cost us?
I mean, power-wise, probably
Not much.
$5.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually a lot of publicity for our area.
So I was just
that-
gonna say that. If-
They're a 501c3.
Yeah, that
Okay.
would bring people here that would never come here, and then maybe, not that they're gonna be sightseeing, but
Right.
Yeah,
they
the
may say,
race-
hey, this is a place of vacation.
Are they going to be camping there, or they're just passing through?
This is another picture.
The folks, the volunteers and the people running the little station are going to be staying in the area over there, and they'll be out like probably doing some purchases and stuff. The racers, my understanding, they just come through the rat and go,
Yeah.
and they're on race.
Wow.
The only thing one of the things that I wonder is just like notification to the couple of households that are right there, because if there's gonna be unusual noise on the river,
Mm-hmm.
they just might want a heads up. Not that I'm expecting people to be rowdy, but like you also wouldn't expect anybody on the water in the evening.
Especially at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
I feel like
It
I'm
does.
gonna go out behind my house and see how they're gonna get around about that.
Send up a drone and watch them.
Right?
I lived over there. I definitely have a
Big
gathering
soccer spotlight.
cheer 'em on.
Would there be any way that you think we could get some extra publicity out of it
Had the messenger inform them that
Somebody.
that's
without
could be something
giving
that
away their,
Yeah.
whatever they don't want us to give away?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably call it the 23rd, the 24th,
Yeah.
to let them know once they know. But some of it's top secret, they said, because they don't think they know their whole path. What made me think of that too is, I don't know if you saw on Channel 3, I think ran it. It was either Channel 3 or VTV. But there's also a race in Killington this year that's similar, some kind of running race, hardcore running race. That was like some big publicity thing that they're coming here to Killington and stuff. So, I mean, it's 500 miles. I don't know where they're starting. Well, it's not that big to be 500 miles. So, I mean, it's go down 3 times.
Yep.
But,
No, I don't think we should spill the beans, but
No,
call it
somehow.
paper.
Oh, I meant for like to report on after.
Oh, yeah, for
Even
sure,
after.
Yeah.
For
Some
sure.
pictures and something.
Number of persons expected to attend is 125.
they're gonna be in and out of
Yeah,
different
come and go,
times,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, there's
Alright, you said teams
3
of,
days,
teams of 2?
2 to 4.
Teams of 2 to 4 on bikes, so.
so
So it sounds like a bike collection station is what they're after.
yeah, they needed more room. 'Cause I first pointed them over here, but they need more room to put power.
Is there enough room down there?
Should be, yeah.
We
We thought,
gotta mow it and stuff? We have to mow it?
we keep it low.
Yeah, okay.
And
Um,
they'll need room for laughs.
Rafts and bikes, yeah.
He thought it was plenty, he thought it was perfect. Yeah, the first person to last person is 3 days behind, so. Some time to make up.
Yeah. What are we thinking?
I think it's cool.
I like the idea.
Motion
I
to
think-
accept, waive the fee?
Wait and see. I make a motion that we accept the permit with the condition that we waive the fee and offer to pick up the trash for them.
Is there a second?
Well, so they can pick up the trash, but they can leave it in a barrel, if we can pick up the barrels.
Yeah, we'll have the guys. I think it's 20 cents a Friday anyway.
Trash on Thursday, anyway.
Alright. David the first, Leonard had the second. All those in favor say aye.
I
And those opposed, nay. Motion
Tuesday,
carries.
Friday.
I'll be looking forward to that. I think
Yeah.
right. Digger truck bids came in. What we do?
bigger truck bid.
Only one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
More than $1?
Not much, but
Not much.
I think I'm gonna buy it for a round car.
Sure.
Take the back off.
Valancourt repairs.
Of course you do.
Oh, and he was fun. 2,550. He did say that we could strip whatever we wanted off of it, as far as like the digger, the auger. There's some ropes. There's a few other things. He pretty much said if we decide to go with him that he's looking for particular pieces, parts mechanically off of it, and that we could take what we wanted off of it first.
I'm gonna recuse myself. Heather, this is you. That's my father's bid, so.
Okay. He said he had to change it on us because the tires are pretty.
Oh.
He
God.
loves lowballing us. I was picking on him. We gave him quite a bit of hell while he was there. So
Okay, so we've got the one bid. I have zero concept of what this is worth, and I
We
think we just
paid-
want to get rid of it.
we paid $9
Mostly.
grand for it. I
Yeah.
think in 2020, somewhere in that ballpark. We have put a little bit into it. At this point, honestly, we've pulled the insurance off of it, and it is locked behind the gates up by the sub.
And there's no plans to use it.
No, we initially did have a discussion last year about converting it, but we've actually looking at the Dodge bucket truck that we are replacing this year. It makes more sense what we wanted to do to maybe look at converting that versus this. I mean, engine mechanically wise, there isn't anything wrong with this truck. It's just as a digger truck, it's not safe to use as a digger truck, but the truck itself is fine.
Is there? Do we have energy to try anywhere else to get higher bids?
I'm not giving you my answer to that,
I mean, we can try it one more time.
but I mean, we had it out for 3 weeks in various places, and
There's no way
this is the
So-
only person that showed any interest in it. So we had it on Facebook. I think I put it on Front Porch Forum. And we've had it on the website. I mean, I pushed it out up to Eli to kind of push too. So at this point, I don't think there's any hard feelings to see it go down the road.
How do y'all feel? Do we want to make a motion to accept the bid?
I think there would be some other places that might have an interest in the truck, but they're far away. I know one in Connecticut that sells used commercial trucks. Whether or not they would even want to come that far to
It's
To
a
look at.
1994. There's the body. There is some rust on it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying
I
to
know,
speak on
that's
the
what I'm
other
saying,
it's
so
just,
I don't think they would really wanna come up here knowing what they do.
and I don't know that unless John puts some time and effort into it, that those guys
Yeah.
have the capacity to do that right now with what they have going on.
I say that we sell it,
I say they keep it local.
and it becomes a town problem rather than a village problem.
So is there a motion to accept the bid? Is that what?
I make a motion to accept the bid of $2,500.
I'll second that.
Yep. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No noes? Yep, we'll accept the bid.
I'm pretty sure he's already got somebody for it lined up too, so.
If he's, well, maybe I
You
should
gotta-
put
you
a
gotta
caveat
drive
in
it
there if
over.
he sells it for
Yeah.
more than
No,
Deliver it.
it's honestly at this point,
It's
it's
not
literally
worth
taking up space and it's been sitting for over a year now.
Our staff have other things to do
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
try to get a little bit more money
Yeah.
out of, so, okay. I give the meeting back to you, Sam.
Thank you, Heather. Youth Center, motion to transfer funds to the Youth Center and the remaining of the United Way funding. So the rest of your grants came in.
Well, so this is the reimbursement for Q3 that's expected, within the next 2 weeks. It's a very slow process. We've submitted the reports, they told us they were approving all of it, they just need to get their money and then they need to send it to us. So just to getting ahead of the game, because it should be coming any time now, just looking for preemptive approval so that as soon as, the check comes here, Abby can then write a check to us. And then Abby and I were also talking about there's some funds in, some additional funds still in the People's Bank account. We were thinking about 1,500 that could be.
Yeah, there's 1,700 in the account right now. I think we left a buffer month for rent because we weren't sure
Yeah.
when it was being taken over, but the youth center took that over immediately. So I would say 1,500 is a good buffer just
Yeah.
so they don't close the account. So she'd like to make a motion to approve this for when the United Way funds come in so I can just
Yeah,
process the
just,
check for them, but another motion to immediately transfer 1,500 out of the People's Trust account to the youth center.
Okay, does this United Way go to the People's Trust account?
Yes,
It's just the one account?
correct.
So we need to keep that open to receive the last,
Yeah,
one
there'll be
more
one more
coming,
check.
right?
Correct.
One more check.
One more after this one, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Motion to approve transfer of United Way funds in the amount of $9,478 to the CEY.
I make the motion to approve.
Leonard has the first or second?
I'll make the
Second.
motion.
Okay, and there's a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And then we need an additional motion to transfer $1,500 from the village's fiduciary account to the Community Empowering Youth Center. Motion.
So make the motion.
Second
The
that.
first, member the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Thank you.
Managers minutes.
So update on the sidewalk project, I've seen it, creating some little bit of traffic havoc up there at the 4-way. It's going pretty well. The only question out there, if you have thoughts on this, so in front of the chainsaw shop, there's a power pole right in front of Jim's chainsaw shop. So it's about 35 feet to Pleasant Street. That was designed actually to raise up that 35 feet. It goes up 6 inches, technically 7 inches. And it's enough room, it makes the grade for ADA and so forth. So the concept was for safety, so that people, if you're coming, if you look at it now, it's obviously all flat. So people tend to make it a 2-lane and it's not really supposed to be. So if someone's turning left, they try to scoop it right. So the idea was to kind of block that off. Jim is struggling with this concept.
How are the truckers gonna handle it? Because they gotta swing into Jim's yard. to make that right-hand turn.
Well,
They wouldn't be able to drive over the sidewalk.
usually when they swing, it's further down, like where he parks. 'Cause you've combed that off before, but you're right. So I'm a little bit both. I mean, I'd like to see it the way it is now. It wouldn't cost, they wouldn't be doing any work there, because of the trucks swinging in and out of there, snow removal. Although I talked to Ken and Kevin, and they didn't see a huge issue with snow removal there. Again, Jim thought it'd be hard because he usually just goes out and pushes that all down Pleasant Street. I mean, actually, Jim was a little excited about it. I thought it actually made sense for him parking wise, because then it almost declares a parking spot there.
Right, people park kind
Just-
of all over
Exactly.
that spot. It's really hard to make a left actually out of there sometimes, just because the trucks are like right in the road and stuff,
Yeah, or,
parking.
so they almost declare a parking spot for him. So that's the only sticking point right now. Or if you have suggestions or thoughts, I mean, we can pull it out, or not do it that way. The raise, we can leave it flat and just we wouldn't even do anything to that side.
Yeah, you shouldn't
And
touch
I
that
think
whole,
they're still gonna
that
do
whole
it.
stretch of sidewalk.
It's
A lot of times there's 2 or 3 pickups that are parked right there.
parking in those corner lots are always, it's always.
And the only thing they'd be doing for work in that intersection would be on the west side, I guess, what call it. Because they're gonna fix that ramp, because that ramp only goes east. It doesn't go across Elm Street. So that ramp will be fixed, but then we, like I said, you get rid of it, not.
My personal opinion would be the same, because truckers are a different breed, and there will be some damage there, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, save us money on that.
Because we didn't budget the full engineered amount for that project, so if we can save some money here, then it can always be touched up down the road if needed to be. I think right now it presents more problems than solutions.
I mean, it hasn't, we've never really had an issue there, I guess. I don't know, you walk more than most probably.
Yeah, there's certainly times where it's unpleasant to both drive and try to make a turn there and also walk and cross that street. It's kind of torn because on the one hand, I would love to see a different parking behavior. And on the other hand, I would hate to create a different kind of problem by changing that and have people ignoring it and a new issue with it being raised. So I don't really know. It's an unfortunate tug and pull. Can we be level and stay ADA compliant? Like, is that like?
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know what
it's
that rule is.
the way it is now. It's fine.
Okay.
I asked the engineer that and so forth, and they felt that would be safer, but there was no like regulation that they were following that they had to do that.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
I say we leave it.
Maybe.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Maybe we should.
Other than that, the project's going fairly smooth. Up through there again, just the traffic backups, I guess, once in a while.
Busy intersection right there.
It is a busy intersection.
Huh.
Why would a street light would do, or a traffic light would do right there?
Yeah. Are we down there filming
No, but they should have a state inspector on site, right?
We have a engineer on site. not a
Yeah,
site
but-
inspector.
There will be. He's not gonna be on site, but he's lurking around somewhere. So
Hopefully he's taking notes.
yes.
And if Abby wants to chime in, billing system update, AMI integration, it's I think going fairly smoothly. And we're getting close. I think the ladies realize June 15th is coming pretty quickly, especially when you talk billing cycles, we're pretty much there. But we have Liz with NISC and Carol here this week, doing a lot of trainings and so forth with ladies, and got the late guys in here today because we're going to be doing some service work for orders. But it's going well. We'll probably do some more publicity on it, letting people know and so forth.
I'm gonna take over the website sometime one day this week. And we're gonna start putting, John and I can decide what we wanna put up, and then there's some videos that we can roll out through social media. Going to try to direct everybody to the website, but we do have Front Porch Forum, we'll have some stuff we can put out, Facebook, but yeah, it's a lot, but everybody's hanging in there, rolling with it pretty good.
Question that came up, those with automatic payments, will they have to
So we are not converting over any bank account, any information, so, and auto pay is gonna drastically change to the essence, we will not be accepting auto pay with credit cards or debit cards, it will be bank draft only. Because the only way, we're very restricted, because the only way that we can do it with the credit cards would be that the village would have to absorb the fee.
which was kind of substantial.
Yes.
So with the
It would
direct
be.
from account, there's no fee?
I think it's 20 cents. Where now you're paying that,
Cost
it
of
was
check,
95. Yep, so it's 20 cents to process for the bank draft, where now it's 95 cents, there's no limit with the bank draft. So that is going to be a huge change. The other change is due to PCI compliance. We will no longer accept credit cards in the office, or we won't directly process over the phone. Customers will need to call like a 1-800 processing number,
For credit
and they will
cards?
have to do it themselves.
Okay.
So, gonna have some cranky customers. It's gonna be a big change.
Well, that and credit cards are kind of a buffer for some people. Like if it has to be,
You can still pay by credit card. You just have to call it in and
Okay,
process it yourself, or go online and process it yourself. The biggest change is gonna be that, hey Psyche, can you push my payment through? Here's the last 4 of my card. That is not gonna be there anymore. People are gonna have to do it themselves. You can still use a credit card. We're just limited to the ways that we can use the credit card to avoid taking on the burden. So I think we looked, we had like, I wanna say we only have about 200 customers on auto pay with a credit card. We don't have a huge amount that does auto pay, but we do have 200 customers that are gonna be affected. So we did start sending some literature out, and I've gone through with everything too to make sure that is very highlighted. But we can't carry over any information, so everyone is gonna have to re-register. You're gonna have a new account number. The account numbers are gonna be different. So there's gonna be a lot of big changes.
big decide. Not really that big.
It's not really
In the grand scheme of things, it's not, but yes.
If some of us
exactly.
have the same account number for the last 50 years, it might be a big change.
And it's a big change for the ladies, because believe it or not, some of them
Oh, yeah.
can blurt out like your account number, frequent flyer accounts and stuff. So, but within the system, they're keeping that, so it's still going to be searchable, and we'll have it there as a reference. A new thing too is going to be customer numbers. So, Sam, say you own 3 properties within our service territory. So now you have to have a bill for each property.
Yeah,
Now you're going to have one bill
that's cool.
with each
Different address.
property. You'll have a customer number, and then you'll have an account number for each account. But rather than receiving 3 bills, you're gonna have everything on one bill. You don't have to. You also have the option not to combine everything, but everything will be combined. But if you're a landlord with multiple properties, you still will be able to break out each
Mm-hmm.
property. But
Good idea.
and I think I went over with everybody in the beginning, we won't be mailing stuff from the office anymore. We send the file, they mail it. So our contracts with that equipment, I think it goes into 2026, so we will still have it. But we will not be mailing stuff in-house anymore.
Will the envelopes look the same? Like with the Enosburg Village head stamp and such?
I don't know if they'll be 100% the same, but it will stay.
Similar enough for somebody to recognize and not throw out.
Yeah, and what I can do too is ask them for a picture of what the envelope's gonna look like, and we can kind of put that out there, because this bill cycle, which village bills should have got a stuffer about hydrant flushing, and then on the back side was what your new bill's gonna look like. So, and the town bills will get the same next month, but they did a really nice job, the bills. So I'm pretty excited for it, but it's, Lori and Psyche have been doing really well, keeping up with the trainings, homework, plus the day-to-day stuff. The last couple weeks especially, we had to cram a lot of trainings into a short amount of time. And they had an all-day training. We've got this week, like John said, they're on site. So it's a lot, but it's all good stuff. It's gonna be a lot more automation, so a lot of our processes that we spend so much time manually doing now, the system's just gonna do it.
Mhm.
So, a lot of good changes, but it is change.
Are they gonna be like, are they window envelopes? Are they gonna be window envelopes, or are they gonna be like?
I'm not sure, I'd have to ask them. I would assume window, but,
There's probably a paperless option too, I imagine.
and we'll be able to text. We can send out a mass text. There's a little message spot on them where we can do a message.
Same for me.
I think I can actually pull it up.
While she's pulling that up, AMI is going well too. Our meter order has been placed for our power. Our water meter order, we are working on placing, but those are readily available, so it's not as concerning. And our NTUs, which is the little radio that goes on the side of the house, order is in as well. And the power guys have 3/4 of the DCUs up. So we're actually just waiting on a few small transformers to come in and they'll finish the DCUs. So
Awesome.
we'll have that up and running. So water will go first, then power will go next. And after all this, we may be the first out of EPSA.
What about the changing the meters? How's that going? The water meters.
We've gone out to bid actually. We have a company called Batfill.
That come in and retrofit everything.
They'll do everything, yeah. They come highly recommended. We've talked with Thai Sales, who we get our meters from. They're very, always worked well with them. They just did Shelburne. I called down there, no issues. They just did Newport Center as well. So.
So this is what the front page will look like, and this is the stuffer that we just sent out. So this right here, like if you have a past due amount, this circle will be red to flag. There's going to be different indicators that flag. If you have auto pay, it'll say like bank draft on this date. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to flag it. The due dates, this will break it out by service for you. The second page, I don't have it right here, but will be a usage chart, and it'll also show like the average temperature. So it'll have and they're gonna actually be converting over our data, so you'll have the last, I think it'll show 13 months.
It's all visual graphs, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I've seen a copy of, I think it was co-op, so man, this is awesome. This is
Yeah,
five
so
years.
VEC actually, this is who they use for software, so it's gonna pretty much look.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, so we can do a couple different customizations, but the one thing on every bill, this section here, we obviously added this, but this is a message center. So we can type in like happy holidays or hydrant flushing or this or that, like, so we'll be able to send messages out.
And will the messages, can you tailor it so that some go to village residents and so Bakersfield and stuff, they don't get the message?
Should be able to based on
It'd
the
be village or
address.
town going, it'd be on the bills, this is on the bills. So we could send one message for village customers.
Yeah,
But we wouldn't have it necessarily on the town bill cycle that goes out.
Okay, cool, that's great, that's just something that's gonna be relevant.
So one other thing, we should be more clear on those who are bonded, what the fees are. Because if you look at a current bill, it just says you owe $250, and it says this fee, or it just says like, I think it's very vague, just like something bond, or whatever, and it's like $9 here, $13 there, whatever, and then you look at the bottom of the bill, and you have your total. So I'm sure a lot of people pick that up, like I have been doing the last 10 years, and going, what does that even mean?
Well, I'm just gonna say this right now, it's not gonna have an issue because of the software conversion.
No worries.
But we need to evaluate our rate structures entirely. And those amounts will all be adjusted. We've broken out, so we were lumping like bond revenue for the bond payments for water and sewer like all into one, so we've separated it out. So we need to do basically an audit of our rate structure and really just kind of make some adjustments there. So that is gonna be next year's project, just because with everything, right now, I just honestly don't have the time to analyze it like I need to.
Yeah, no, I just, somewhere down the line.
No, it's
Not very
definitely on, it's on the radar. So this is what it's gonna, the backside will look like, right? So you got your service location, service description, so if it's Sugar House or something like that, it might say something different here. So this is electric, water. There's not really any data to show with sewer because it's based upon your water
It's not
consumption.
metered,
Yeah. So it's gonna say like customer charge.
I thought I remember seeing a graph that was usage at certain times of the day.
Until we have
Yeah, it was
the
the
AMI
AMI
meters.
Okay, all right. Because
Yeah.
there was like a price. There was like each hour of 24 hours, and there's like a price per kilowatt and how much you use and that.
So that's part of the push for AMI meters is because
Mhm.
the state is doing a lot of stuff pushing time and use.
Yep.
So for different rates at different times of day, especially I think it came a lot with EV chargers, right?
Yeah.
So you won't see that on your bill, but you will also be able to register for Smart Hub and be able to go in, which I actually think I have it on my phone. And you can go in and you'll be able to look at different graphs through your billing.
But again, this is once AMI meters are up and running.
Yeah,
You'll be able to pull that, you'll be able to pull it live.
Control.
nice.
I think must be just trying to run an update on my computer. Alright,
Okay,
yeah.
we better get you out of it.
So, yeah, and I mean, I could run through 30 pages of, like this one right here, there's a past due amount, so it's gonna highlight what your past due is.
Make those lights blink.
I wish we could, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, so basically that's like paid by bank draft, so it's gonna flag it if you have it set up for auto pay. Yeah, so lot of cool stuff.
Good stuff.
You good with all that? If you notice the poles up here at the new park, they've started to place the poles for the rope and pole process. So they should have that done soon. I don't know if anybody want to name the new park. Suggestions? No? Okay. And then the other thing, so Corey Grattan, our hire for the highway department, started Monday, yesterday.
Work. Welcome to the team.
Yeah. So we had a little.
Don't worry, Kevin's breaking them in.
We had a little gathering yesterday morning, meet and greet with them for everybody.
You
So
started yesterday.
yeah,
He came back today, so I mean,
Monday.
that didn't scare him off too badly.
Yeah.
No, I think they're gonna fit in fine.
Yeah.
So that's all I got.
So what are we gonna do about naming the park?
May I have a name for it? What was? Does anybody know the name of the old, not Kevin's Corner, but the store before that?
Palanches.
You know?
Before
I wasn't
Kevin-
even alive when that was Kevin's Corner.
It was Belange's corner. It was the left side You bring in a car and he had a pit and he could change the oil and this and that. And on the right side, it was like a quick stop.
Where did that pit lead to?
What?
Where did that pit lead to for all your oil changes?
Let's not be so technical. No.
We won't talk about that. Well, we used to stop there after church every Sunday, get our ice cream.
No, no.
Well, Belange's.
You have to spell that. You have to spell that for me. I don't spell French names.
How about we used to do like the corner part or
Don't,
something?
I don't even think most people remember that being a store.
No,
she,
That'd have been like the 70s.
Jimmy Carpenter's wife was a Belanger.
I know it's the lady. What's the lady that works at Ace? I mean, it was
Jimmy Carpenter's wife.
Tessa.
Maria?
I think it's Tessa. It was her grandparents.
You can see J right there, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's already JD Drive.
I, so for the grant I wrote, we called it just like the Mrs. Square Viewing Park, 'cause it's along the river.
We should just have a competition with the kids like they do with snowplows.
That'd be fun.
There's a
love
couple
that.
funny ones. I've never seen one with plows go by.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we could
And-
ask the school and get
Yeah.
some submissions for next,
K through third, something like that.
and they'll still be in school. For our next meeting.
Yeah,
So
what's
you'd
for
be
the
able-
16th?
I know, it's awful, isn't it?
So that'll be the final question on their final exams. What's the
Yeah.
We're
name
at
of
the
the park?
park.
Yeah, the guys started setting the posts and we were actually, because of the way that we're running the fence on the top, able to extend the pollinator garden that they're putting in there a little bit. Now they were down there working on it today, so it's coming together nicely.
So what would be a date if we want them to submit a name?
Whatever that
Idea.
Friday is before the
Yeah, the Friday before.
dairy days.
That way we
I
have a
guess,
little bit of
the
time to
fifth,
think
so-
about it.
6th.
So by June 6th?
Yeah, we'll have a meeting on the 10th. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be great.
June 6th. 6. Alright. That's all I got.
Thank you, John. Other business?
I have a question. I don't know if I don't wanna call them bigger, the sign holding people out on 105 in front of Tractor Supply again this Saturday, were they there again?
I think so, I wasn't there.
Do they require a permit to be out there?
That's June.
Technically, it's not our land.
Private property.
They were on 105 the first weekend. They were on the sidewalk.
I mean, it'd be.
I know they moved there because they didn't get, because they didn't get a park permit in time. I think they were trying
They
to
did
get.
inquire, yeah, they
About
called,
Maple
inquired about
Park, or,
doing Lincoln Park, but then they
Lincoln
moved it
It's
to Jeffers.
it's Pomerlows. So the landowner owns the buffer between the sidewalk and the road.
Okay,
So if they're on the
But
buffer,
who-
that's Pomerlows.
they were on the sidewalk.
I think they were at
It
several
was raining.
campers around the state, it wasn't just
They
the
didn't want to stand
campers.
in the grass, but they were still in the sidewalk.
Yeah, there was a.
Promise Lanford or something?
Well,
I
there's
don't know, yeah.
big white hot box stores.
So even, we mow, I think 2 strips behind the sidewalk, just so you know this. That's technically not ours, but we just started mowing it because,
Does it look like
Yeah.
trash?
yeah,
Right.
once Parnell sold it and I think Mrs. Ernst mows it, we used to mow that area.
Right.
But when Parnell sold to this investment firm out of New Jersey, that hasn't mowed, so we keep mowed.
We should also reach out to them again and make sure they know
Brush hog.
that. Something. All the trees are dead. It just looks really, really bad. So
No,
if they're trying to
Put
sell
some
that lot,
wildflowers on it, and you could have a nice pollinator garden out there.
they're flat down back of the house.
Let's do it. Make a pollinator garden. If they're not gonna do anything with it, might as well have flowers.
Yeah.
in Maplewood,
What?
where the vegetable garden was on at the house. They put in all pollinated flowers and everything. I don't know if they're gonna come up.
Yeah, I need to do some too, but I don't know. And I don't mind
We're
upload.
very vocal today.
Any other business?
I just have one quick update. Our OTC kiddos are gonna be in the park on Thursday cleaning monuments. I meant to tell you that this afternoon on a call. But I reached out to them and the American Legion about cleaning up to get those clean, reached out to Fluke Monuments on what we should use to clean them. He said, Dawn dish soap and some elbow grease, so I called the kids.
Good enough.
So we're gonna support by Ken's with the water on and providing a hose and, but they're gonna do a lot of the hard work to get all those cleaned up.
I had a couple of things. One of them is a community member reached out to me today with some frustrations about people in front of the Falls apartment just hanging out most of the day smoking cigarettes and their butts are going all over the place.
I already emailed Sherry on that.
Okay, I was told by this community member that they were offered like a receptacle and that the housing authorities didn't want to put it up. So it's kind of like it's a double thing. One is like that the constant people standing there. Some people are avoiding that stretch of sidewalk because of it, and also the littering. So I just wasn't sure what we could do about that. And I know you've reached out to them, and that's what I told this community member. Before it was one person, now it's two people out there very regularly.
Yeah, I just emailed her Monday, 'cause somebody emailed me pictures of that, of all the cigarette butts. So I emailed her, I was gonna give her a day or two to, because last time it took a couple days and then they were out back, I think, or, so I was gonna give her a day or two to, and it doesn't seem like it's stopping and I'll back up with her.
I get the other one is kind of the timing was, I don't know, weird I guess with the request earlier, but been noticing so many dirt bikes and four-wheelers all up and down, and again, they're weaving, sometimes they're on the sidewalk, sometimes they're on the road, sometimes they're on the rail trail, they're whichever way, helmets, no helmets, 2x2. It's been really bad the last 3-4 weeks, and I know we don't have the enforcement, just kind of bringing it up.
Maybe
It's-
if it's a trail, the game wardens will come.
Maybe, I mean, I think that needs to be part of the consideration because like some concern, there's the two views, right? One is you make some of the trail legal and some people might have better behavior on the road, but then it also might encourage more and we need to be able to have like that enforcement too. Again, like people, they're weaving around everywhere. It's like, it's not so much that they're necessarily on the road, it's like the behavior is really intense and children are doing
We
children
had
things.
the most ATV traffic and dirt bike traffic on the rail trail in front of my house that we've ever had, to the point that I don't even wanna walk it with the kids anymore because they were drag racing on our
Yeah.
road the other night, and so it's definitely not just a here problem, it's an everywhere problem, but it's
Yeah, they're not
I'm the psycho
supposed,
going out yelling at people.
they're not supposed to be on the rail trail.
No, and
It's
then
just snowmobiles in the winter that are supposed to be on the rail trail. And I actually watched one, like they saw the police and so they like booked it through a neighborhood, got onto the rail trail to disappear. Like, so they also know that they're not supposed to be doing it. I don't know, it's a frustration, there's definitely lots of concern for safety with it. It's like you just don't know where you're gonna find a motorized vehicle right now.
Yep.
You might be a pedestrian on the sidewalk, where you're supposed to be.
I mean,
Maybe we can try to find, I don't mind trying to track down and calling parents or something, I don't know if we can track down where they're coming from.
It's not always just
it's
kids.
not, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's adults, it's
Most of
people
these
in
that
their
I've seen
30s
have
or
been
so.
adults.
Yeah, there's some that I think could possibly be teenagers, but most of them are adults.
Huh.
Yeah. And I don't know where, they're going so fast, I'm not seeing faces and I couldn't identify them, and only one of the vehicles have I actually noticed parked somewhere, and they do park in town, so I could probably point to a house where they might live.
Right.
The rest of them I couldn't identify.
Yeah, I mean, even here at Porter on the day, we've seen it take,
Yeah.
well, at least 3 or 4 a week.
What, is there any update on the town as far as law enforcement coverage?
Not that I'm aware of. I talked to Jesse the other day. They're saying they've got a couple folks that might be interested in moving to the area for becoming a chief. But
That's our criminal and Cisco.
as far as I know,
No license plate, no license.
Yeah, I think one of those little people ones.
This was a vehicle this morning parked down by, ended up being a Cold Hall student, so I went down.
Oh,
to
I know who
Cold Hall.
that is. I know exactly who that is. And no, it won't help reaching out to parents.
So, Nate knew exactly who it was, and he did get him to move the truck, but he was right in the middle of traffic.
Yeah. Any other business?
When are we gonna get our garbage cleaned up in the village? We've talked about it and talked about it, and we turned it over to Jesse Wood, and then what happened?
we have a step coming.
John's on.
Yeah, we're on.
It's a process, it's not an overnight thing by any means, as we've learned, I think, working with our attorney.
You drive into Enosburg and you see some of these places. Some places their places are marvelous. They're beautiful. A lot of apartments they've renovated just down the street from me. That's one that I was criticizing about. They hadn't mowed their lawn in years.
Yeah.
Now it's and they got a beautiful back lawn facing the golf course. And then you got other places that it looks like a dump. Is that fair to the people that want a nice place to have neighbors like that?
I have a question. I don't know. I haven't researched the answer yet because I thought of this today. For whatever reason, I was in the park. Would our ordinance count in the trailer park? I don't know that answer.
Should count everywhere in the village. It's in the village.
Yeah.
So I know to add to the list.
Yeah. I got something real quick. This is my last meeting. It's been an honor and privilege serving with everyone.
Where are you going?
Moving out of the village.
You don't like us going.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Moving
I was
out.
trying to sell your house for you today.
For you?
Yeah.
Any luck?
I don't know, I showed pictures and
No bites.
I've had 8 views so far.
My son Garrett lives outside of Keene, New Hampshire. He's trying to get a property, small property like your house, 1,200 square feet. The last 3 weekends, he's put bids in on houses down there. And there's been 20 or 30 bids in front of him. And the bids are offering 2 to 2.5 times the asking price.
Really? Yeah. Unfortunately, that didn't happen to me.
Yeah, they're happy with my house either.
So, yeah.
There you go, Sam.
Tom Oliver's father is looking to buy a place in Enosburg or Berkshire. He's single. He's an older, but he wants to move. He lives, I think he's in Arizona right now.
Well, we can talk about that after. Let's get wrapping up here in the executive.
Oh, okay.
If there's no other business, motion to move into executive?
Well, first, I think we'll need to put out
Oh, yeah, sorry, we're not done
some
with that.
letter
section.
for, interested peoples to take Sam's spot.
I'll find out, we probably dig out the last one and
Yeah.
update it from when, I think Sandy.
And it will,
Yeah.
it's just through March, right? And
I
then,
think I haven't,
and
yeah,
then it would be whatever the rest of your term would have been, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can
Yes.
appoint to fill out the remainder of this year.
Yep.
If they wish to stay on, they'd have to get reelected in March for the remainder of my term,
Yes.
which is 26.
2 more years.
With 2 more years? Yeah, 'cause you're up with me, right? Okay, so 27.
Until 20, yeah, see, okay, can't remember.
we'll get that out and, well, I'm not gonna plan for the next meeting, but maybe the next meeting you can have some names. All right, motion to go into executive for the purpose of discussing.
Should say negotiation, discuss
Yes.
negotiation.
I should know this by heart.
It's about the last
For the
night.
purpose of discussing negotiations in which premature public knowledge may compromise the position of the municipality.
I'll move.
Heather would first,
Second that.
Leonard would second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Executive.